Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 5.
Did you know that Thanos has a helicopter?
And that's Canon. I'm Tommy from Richmond Comix.
I'm Travis from Checkpoint Ahead.
And we're back again with our picks of the week. Sorry we weren't here last week. Had a little thing come up and couldn't quite get it out. But we're back this week, and we're talking about a lot of Marvel books.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Which is different for us, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We never talk about Marvel. So anyway, my pick this week, Spidey #1. This book has got everything I love about Spider-Man. It's got a lot of crazy action, some really funny quips, and some of those really cool personal moments between Peter and the people around him. Just really good, really well-written book. The art style fits perfectly. I haven't really read a lot of stuff. Nick Bradshaw did the art. Robbie Thompson is the writer on this book. It starts off with Spider-Man stopping White Rabbit, and it gets nuttier from there. The logo on the book is pulled directly from Spidey Super Stories.
Yes, which is the first comic that I ever read, so it's like super hard, like tugging at my nostalgia strings. It's crazy.
And that logo actually comes from the Electric Company.
Right.
And their Spider-Man shenanigans.
Which he was fond of dancing, if I remember. Right?
Yes. He never spoke, but he did dance.
Yeah, which is all you need.
Yeah, he communicated through interpretive dance.
Exactly.
As one dude.
And Morgan Freeman as Dracula definitely understood him.
But one of the best things about this book is how, like a teenager, this guy is. He screws up a lot. He messes up in class. He's late. His teachers are like, we understand you've had a hard year. You've lost your uncle. You can do better. And he's like, look, I was busy punching this rabbit chick in the face. I got stuff to do, man. One of the things I really like about this book, for those of us who have read Spider-Man for 130 years like I have, the original history, Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane are people that he met in college. Because the high school years for Spider-Man only really lasted for about 20, 25 issues.
Right.
And then they wanted him to grow up, which, unfortunately, they did. Because as a lifelong fan of Spider-Man, the best stories are the ones when he's a teenager.
Definitely.
So, with this, we get an introduction to a teenage Gwen Stacy who's going to high school with Peter, and shenanigans, I assume, will ensue. In this issue, we meet Flash Thompson, who then meets Gwen's fist.
Lovely introduction, I'm sure.
Yeah. Harry and Peter are only in a couple scenes together, but you obviously can tell they are very good friends. Harry Osborn, Peter Parker, best friends. And then in this issue, Peter gets to meet his idol, Norman Osborn, which I'm sure that will go well.
Yeah, it can only go well.
Yeah, I feel like when you meet your idols, it's always a good time.
Yeah, they never turn out to be maniacal goblins or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never heard of something like that.
No. So what they've done is they're telling teenage Spider-Man stories, retconning stuff a little bit for a new generation, because there's like hashtags and selfies going on in here. But it's in continuity. The stuff in this book matters to the current run of Amazing Spider-Man, which is something that I love. Back many years ago, I think it was Kurt Busiek. He did a book called Untold Tales of Spider-Man.
Yes, I remember this.
Which this feels a lot like that. In that we get to see a teenage Peter Parker being a teenager and kind of screwing up a lot, and the stories between the stories from when he was young. But this one, very much a fresh take on it. Not quite the Ultimate version, but I have a feeling they're going to be incorporating a lot of the ideas from the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, a lot of the ideas from the cinematic universe, kind of blending things together. And in a post-Secret Wars world, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is my pick this week, Spidey #1.
Yeah, that's an all ages book. Is that correct? Like
This is an all ages book. It is good for.
Which doesn't mean for kids. It means for all ages.
Right. Like growing up, Spider-Man was always written to be all ages.
Exactly.
And I think the big problem Marvel's had the last few years is that when they do an all ages book, it's really written at 10 years and under.
Right.
So, like, I will read that book and go, this story lacks substance.
Exactly.
Whereas this book is written so that a 8-year-old could read it and enjoy it just as much as I did, but we've got a lot of interpersonal stuff going on, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Really well written.
So Spider-Man, as you know, is good friends with Mary Jane, and this is my lame attempt at a segue.
That is an excellent segue.
Awesome. So Invincible Iron Man number 4 is my pick of the week. Right there on the cover, we've got Mary Jane holding Iron Man's mask, has a Stark business tag on her pocket there, and a little speech bubble with a crossover Spider-Man's face.
Yeah, no Spider-Man.
Yeah, not at all. This book opens up where we left off. Tony is being attacked by ninjas. These crazy ninjas with lightsabers. They're not lightsabers. Maybe they are.
They look like lightsabers.
They look like lightsabers. They're a little bit pointier, but basically he's being attacked by these crazy ninjas. They're all decked out in black, and Tony is he's trying to find a way into their armor or into their suit, just find anything about them. All the technology they're using is completely uncatalogued, so Friday, his AI, is not really much help there.
No, but Friday is probably the most sarcastic interface he's ever used.
The best one. And I know what you guys are thinking. Jarvis in the movies is better, but he's not. Like, she is great. She's hilarious. There's actually one point where Tony, he managed to get a sword from one of these ninja dudes. He actually calls them biotech ninjas, which I think is really cool. And his armor reconfigures into this like samurai look. And it's really cool. And there's this great line where Friday's like, now would be a good time to retreat. And Tony says, also, now I have a sword. That's the opposite of a time to retreat. And Friday just says, you're such a boy. Which, as a boy, I will concede.
Yeah, if I'm in a fight and it's going, kind of 50-50, suddenly I get a sword.
Yeah, hey, odds are in my favor now.
Yeah.
So he finds a way to dispatch all these biotech ninjas, and he's trying to interrogate one of them. And he's speaking another language. I'm assuming Japanese or Chinese, possibly. But yeah, he's trying to interrogate them, see what's going on. And they just kind of fry their skin off. They're just sitting there, and their skin just sort of and it just fries off. And so now there's like these little skeleton dudes in these suits. He meets up with like the local authorities, and the dude's like, I'm gonna need you to file a report and come down to the station. And Iron Man's just like, it's already in your email, Officer Ryan. He's like, how did you know my email? And the dude's like, dude, he's Iron Man. So we then catch up with Tony at his lab. Friday is reminding him of an appointment he has made to go visit some sick children. He's bumped this a couple times before because of Avengers world-saving shenanigans. And she plays this great message that Tony recorded himself, talking about how he needs to not cancel this. He says that, I don't care if Whiplash, Blackout, and Paladin magically fuse into one decent criminal adversaries. You do not cancel on these kids. So yeah, it's a lot of great Bendis-y humor in this. Tony finally shows up at the children's hospital, and he comes in with just his normal clothes. The kids are obviously bummed because they're here to see Iron Man, not the dude with the mustache. And Iron Man's like, I didn't bring my armor. I brought a bunch of them. And it's like the past couple armors that he's worn are all here. The Superior Iron Man, the Extremist, the Bleeding Edge, all those guys are here. And he then gets his new armor, reconfigures it to like a smaller size, and lets this little kid get in it,
it looks like a tiny Hulkbuster.
It does. It's the cutest Hulkbuster I've ever seen. But it has like that face that Tony has right now, that like the pointed kind of look to it. Basically, the whole time, Iron Man is checking in with Friday, trying to see if there's any sightings of Doctor Doom, because he's back and good looking as heck, and we don't know what's going on there. So basically, Doctor Doom just shows up eating a bag of potato chips. He's like, you can finish what you're doing, I'll wait. So
I'm really enjoying this weird kind of funny, sarcastic Doom.
Yeah, the Doom we have now is definitely not the Doom we are reading in Secret Wars.
No,
it's a totally different character, and I eagerly await to see how that Doom becomes this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we get to the pretty much the end of the book, and it's the opening of a new club called Jackpot. Surprise, surprise, Mary Jane owns this club. We know that she had previously owned a club whose name escapes me, but it was destroyed back in Superior Spider-Man, I believe. But yeah, she got a new club out of New York City. It's in Chicago. She reasons that all the superhero shenanigans is happening in New York. Why don't I go somewhere else where there isn't any superhero shenanigans? Unlucky for her,
surprise!
Whitney Frost decides to drop by, and of course that's going to bring Iron Man and his new best bud, Dr. Doom.
And There's a panel where Mary Jane is just a small bubble and it's her saying why, but I read it as why.
Exactly. So yeah, it ends with just Iron Man and Doctor Doom looking just as good looking with these awesome like magic hands. I'm gonna call him that.
He's got magic hands.
Magic hands, and Iron Man's just basically telling Whitney to stop, and kind of ends on that. But yeah, this is the most I've enjoyed an Iron Man book. I've said it before. Like Bendis is just killing it. I've never really cared for the character too much. I liked reading him in other books. I thought it was a really cool character to read about. But yeah, he's just so likable in this, more so than he's ever been.
And it's a nice change of pace since the last couple of years. Tony's almost been a villain.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, starting from Civil War, he's kind of had a rough go of it that entire time, and then he got inverted, and he was even more of a dick. So yeah, Invincible Iron Man. I mean, I should speak about the art because David Marquez is amazing. Not only the women he draws, but even the men.
The ninjas are amazing.
Yeah, everything about it is just they're great. Like I don't know how he does it. Bendis clearly he clearly loves working with him, and I feel like he tries to, like, when he finds a good artist, he locks him down. He keeps him on whatever book he's going on. Yeah. And I hope they stick with this book for a long time. I want it to be like a Bendis Malieve kind of run because Marquez is just amazing.
Yeah, he's really doing a good job on that book. So I thought that book was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But the book I want to talk about is totally awesome.
Oh, it was great. I'm glad you did it.
Totally awesome Hulk. Greg Pak, and the beautiful, beautiful art of Frank Cho.
Oh, yeah.
He draws some of the best monsters I've ever seen.
He really does.
There's this two-headed turtle lizard thing that the Hulk has to smash.
Yeah, he looks like a two-headed Gamera. It's pretty crazy.
So, one of the things about this book that I'm digging immediately, Hulk's fighting monsters, and then when he's done fighting them, he shrinks them down to an itty-bitty size and takes them back to what is basically a food truck, and he puts them in their own little aquarium. Because for some reason, monsters are popping up all over the world, and he and his sister, who is also a genius, have appropriated this food truck because he, in case you don't know about Amadeus Cho, his power, he is the 7th or 8th smartest person on the planet, depending on if you believe Hank Pym or not. And to get that smart, he needs a high caloric intake. It's sort of like how the Flash's metabolism, he has to eat constantly to be able to run that fast.
Oh, man. So wait, this guy eats a lot to be smarter. He eats a lot,
and it lets his brain go into overdrive.
I'm just going to say that's not fair. I'm just going to say that. Because I love to eat, but hey, I'm not the smartest guy.
Right, like, the book kicks off with him eating a bunch of stuff, and it's tempura double bacon cheeseburger with triple dip fried duck skin garnish, 2,438 calories. He's already eaten 6.
Oh, boy.
And this is what he has to do. He's 19. He's a super genius. And somehow he's gotten gamma power. They haven't explained that yet. And he turns into a Hulk. But not like, oh God, I'm the Hulk and I'm destroying things. It's like, dude, I'm the Hulk and it is awesome.
So he's Amadeus Cho as the Hulk as well. They're not a split personality type situation?
Yeah, he's absolutely his same. You see a little bit that the gamma's causing him to have a little bit of a mood swing, but he is currently got it all under control. And then there's a flashback where you kind of see what happened to Bruce. But they have a food truck that says Meat Wagon on the side of it, and it flies. So it's the best thing ever. So it's like him and his sister hanging out in this food truck, making noodles, and having tiny, tiny monsters.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we see what happened to Bruce. He saved a whole bunch of people, and then bad things happened, but we don't know exactly what the bad things are. That's okay. It doesn't matter, because totally awesome Hulk. God.
Man, he draws darn good cars, too. Look at that.
Yeah, everything about this book is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So we get to the end of this, and there's more monsters, and they're apparently calling themselves Nasher and Gasher, because Nasher Nash and Gasher Gash. And
at least it makes sense.
And then he's like, Hulk smash! And She-Hulk's there, and she's like, really? And he's like, come on, they set me up. I had to do it. And his sister's like, stop flirting with She-Hulk. And he's like, oh, she's like 40. And She-Hulk's like, wait, what? Because, like, at the beginning of the book, he's on the beach, and he has to stop this monster, and there's, like, a hot girl. So he's completely flirting with her the whole time.
Yeah.
And his sister's like, oh my God. Oh my God. But so much fun. And then we get this new female villain at the end calling herself Lady Hellbender.
That sounds like a good girl. Like
The Monster Queen of Seknarf 9.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only is the book amazing fun, crazy action, beautiful everything, but it feels like a flashback to like 40s pulp, like science fiction with Lady Hellbender, the Monster Queen of Seknarf 9. And of course, she lays him out and steps on his face, and he's basically, hey, how you doing? Because he's a 19-year-old Hulk.
Oh, that's great.
God, I was really looking forward to this book because Greg Pak wrote my favorite Hulk story ever.
Definitely.
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk was fantastic.
And Greg Pak also wrote the run of Hercules,
which is also fantastic.
That co-starred Amadeus Cho, and kind of set. It was almost like a buddy comedy kind of thing, where the grown-up was the child and the child was the grown-up.
Exactly.
So not only do I have a Hercules book that I'm really enjoying,
yes,
but now I get Amadeus Cho as a totally awesome Hulk.
And one can only hope that there will be an amazing team up between those two, because they're the best buds, and now they both have amazing strength.
Yeah.
That's just going to be great. I regret not reading this book now, just because I'm a huge monster fan, Godzilla, all that kind of stuff, kaiju, whatever. It seems like that's a lot of what's going on in that book. And
absolutely.
And I really need to check it out.
You absolutely do. It is fantastic. Also, the two-headed turtle thing breathes fire.
Aw.
Just gonna throw
it wasn't enough that he was a two-headed giant turtle. Well, that's amazing. I don't have a segue for this, but you can pretend that it was something clever. My next book I'm going to talk about is Star Wars 13.
I find it hard to believe that you're going to talk about a Star Wars.
Yeah, it's really, it goes against my nature, but I'm going to do it. So in this book, it's part 3 of Vader Down, the big crossover event between these two Star Wars books. Picks up with right where we left off, where Luke had just been tricked by a what is this guy's name? 000? No, 000 BT. One of the evil droids is all decked out, looking like C-3PO, and he tricks Luke and zaps him. Dr. Aphra now has him as a prisoner. They're basically going to take him to Vader. Aphra has made it very clear that she's horrified of Darth Vader and is going to pretty much do anything that he says.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
Having read these books, I'm terrified of Darth Vader, and I already know he's dead.
Me too. So we then get to what Han and Chewie are up to, and they're actually out on the prowl for Luke. They manage to find Dr. Aphra and the two droids, with Luke there. Well, first let me just back up and say that there's a scene that R2-D2 and this evil astromech droid get into. And it's heartbreaking to see R2-D2 just run away from this guy. It makes sense because the dude's got a Gatling gun or something. But yeah, anyway, Han and Chewie are out there trying to save Luke, and Han basically has her in his sights, saying, I'm going to shoot if you don't, whatever, let him go. The protocol droid that they're with, she basically informs Han that faster than he can shoot, that protocol droid is going to send a pulse into Luke's body that's just going to kill him. Han mentioned something about how you're going to do that without an arm. And that's when our good friend Chewbacca comes behind the protocol droid and just rips his arm off. It's fantastic. And then there's a great line from the droid where he's like, what have you done, you fur-brained amateur? That was my best dissecting hand. So he's not a good dude. Not a good dude in any way. So at that point, it's kind of a firefight. Han and Aphra are going back and forth with the fights. And Han gets her in his sights, and he mentions how dumb that she is for camping out under this nest of wasp worms. And then we go to the next panel, and Aphra is aimed at Han, who is also underneath a nest of wasp worms. I don't necessarily know what those are, but I feel like you put wasp and worms together, it just sounds bad.
Yeah, it's going to be slithery and hurt a lot.
Exactly. So they're I'm looking at the panel and I always laugh. They're just both running towards each other, covered in these things, and they just smack each other in the head. And yeah, they both fall down. We then get to a point where that protocol droid, that dick of a protocol droid, is about to get the move on Chewie because he's injected him with some Mandalorian drug. How Mandalorians are. Basically, at that point, he's about to take care of Chewie when lightsaber through the arm. He now has no arms. And Luke, he just drives his lightsaber through this protocol droid's chest, and I've never gotten more satisfaction from a droid getting destroyed. Like when he does it, I like even Luke mentions, remind me to apologize to 3PO because I probably enjoyed that way too much. It's just super satisfying. Han, he's okay. He seems all right. It seems the droids think that Afra is dead. I'm not sure if that's a definite thing. If she is dead, I will say I'm a little bit bummed out because she's a great character, and I feel like maybe they took her out too soon.
I'll be honest. The evil droid was a lot of fun to read.
Oh no, he's fantastic. It's almost like another character I'm sure we'll talk about later. Kilgrave. I wanted him to die, but at the same time, he was super charming every time he was on the screen. So yeah, similar situation here. Now this redeems R2-D2 for the earlier moment. R2 face to face with this astromech droid, guns ready, decides to just spray him with like a bunch of oil, and the dude starts to shoot, and all of a sudden there's just a bunch of explosions. So yeah, R2 officially beats this dude. I mean, the droids are still okay. Obviously, they're droids; they can be repaired. But yeah, R2 wins this fight. We then catch up with our rebels who are going after Vader. They're all terrified. They get to a point where they're screaming. They're saying, "Don't let him come after you." He's force choking them like just randomly, and then we get a nice face to face between Princess Leia and Darth Vader, which we haven't seen since A New Hope.
Yeah.
So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what happens after that. Vader Down's been amazing so far. The covers, the art, Mike Deodato drawing this one. Obviously, Jason Aaron, we always talk about him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's quite good.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't reading Vader Down, I would definitely recommend picking it up. They're only in part 3, so you don't have that far back to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fantastic. So if you guys love Star Wars, check out Vader Down.
That's excellent. So, before I talk about this book, I'm going to talk about another book real quick.
Okay.
All right. So, a couple years ago, Marvel put out a book called Avengers Arena.
Right.
And what this seemed like was a shameless attempt to cash in on the Hunger Games.
Which it might have been.
And the hype around it. And I immediately wanted to hate that book.
I think everybody did, yeah.
So I picked up the first issue grumbling, talking about how this was so dumb. And Dennis Hopeless, who wrote that book, and he wrote All New X-Men #1, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. He writes teenagers better than almost anyone in comics. They each have a unique voice. He does a really good job of making them well-rounded. And no matter how many characters there are, none of them are carbon copies of the other, which a lot of times when you have a bunch of teenagers...
Yeah, it gets repetitive.
Yeah, it does. People tend to write them all the same. With the same
it's easy
voice.
to do because, obviously if you haven't been a teenager for a while, it's
right.
It's easy to kind of lump that together.
So, having been able to pull me into a book that I hated the concept of, to the point that, like, when the villain of the story Arcade makes the joke... Yeah, I came up with the idea for this when I read this book while I was in prison. I was like, all right, this guy gets it.
Yeah.
He understands.
They know what they're doing.
So he brings that same ability to write teams to All New X-Men, which there are a ton of them. And these are all characters that are well established. And he brings new facets to their personality that I had never heard, no one else had ever written about. The main thing that struck me is that the Kid Apocalypse, who I can't even. So Kid Apocalypse is in this book, and one of the quips that they make is that he's obsessed with shoes. He just buys a lot of shoes because he loves shoes, and that's one of those weird little things that I know. Like, most people are like, well, why is that a big deal to you? Because we get to know these characters through their powers and the action scenes.
Right.
And rarely does a writer take the time to give, especially teen characters, extra facets to their personality. And I get really excited when I read characters written that well. And I can't wait to see what he does with this book. We've got X-23 and Angel, who have been a couple for a while. So we get some really cool couple moments with them. Like, they're skiing, and they're racing down a mountain. And so she, cuts some tree branches off and throws them at him, because she wants to win. And then, like, she goes off the side of the cliff and is going to fall. And when Angel flies down and catches her, she's like, you cheated. And he's like, what are you talking about? She was like, I was going to win. Because, you know, she's basically indestructible.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? Even if you can survive that, why? Why would you? And she's like, you'll never understand.
It looks like, is Angel still powered up from the Black Vortex?
Angel still has the Black Vortex cosmic powers.
Awesome.
As does Groot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some of the stuff from pre-Secret Wars still sticking around. I'm really enjoying cosmically powered Angel.
Yeah, I feel like he, you know, having just wings, it's hard to be effective. You know, I think that's why they gave him the metal wings and now this. So.
Yeah. So basically, other than Warren and X-23, the rest of the members of this team, which it's Beast, Iceman, Kid Apocalypse, and
Idie?
Idie?
Yeah.
Or Edie? I'm not sure.
Well, I've been saying Idie. I know I read her in Wolverine and the X-Men by Jason Aaron, actually, and I loved that series, so it's cool to see her back.
Yes, and she and Kid Apocalypse are like best pals.
Yeah.
So...
Which that definitely follows through from the Jason Aaron run on Wolverine and the X-Men.
So what we've got is Beast has procured a old Volkswagen bus and basically turned it into a TARDIS because it's way bigger on the inside.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is amazing. And he's like, can I interest you in a slushie? And Iceman's like, there's slushies? And he's like, of course there's slushies.
Why would that even be a question?
That's a dumb question, Bobby. What are you talking about? So these guys are going around, and like the big question that Hank keeps asking is, has anyone heard from Cyclops? Has anyone heard from Cyclops? And no one has. And we know from reading the last few weeks, Cyclops has died. And they don't really tell us why or how until this week's Extraordinary X-Men.
Right.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So the teen version of Cyclops goes walkabout, basically. He's like, the older me went evil and died, basically, is how everybody's looking at it. And he's like, I need to figure out who I am. On top of this weird gang of teenagers who apparently worship Cyclops are going out and just wreaking mayhem everywhere in Cyclops' name.
Oh, wow.
So teen Scott Summers, basically, he's like, they're dumb.
Yeah.
They're teenagers. And he figures out the pattern, and he goes to where they're going to be. And elbows them in the face repeatedly.
And it looks like they're all wearing, like, the visor, the Scott Summers like, visor.
Yeah, the weird X visor that Scott was using in the last run of Uncanny Avengers.
Which I don't fully understand the mechanics of. But...
Uncanny X-Men, not Avengers.
Yeah, but that is a thing.
Yeah. So these guys are just, like, wrecking stuff, and Scott gets mad. And he kind of fights back. And then they get away, but he follows them. Shenanigans ensue. So Beast has been trying to track him down using a modified Cerebro. He doesn't need Psychic to use it, but someone has to manifest their powers for him to track them. And it's been months, and Cyclops has not used his powers at all.
Wow.
He's just detective work, trying to hunt down these people that are doing things in really his name. So, of course, at the end of this, big fight. They threaten a civilian, so optic blasts. And then
oh God,
there's a little nightcrawler, like a bamf, named Pickles, who runs the teleporter.
He's the cutest thing ever.
Yes, he's got like a can of Pringles and an iPad, and he's watching cartoons. And Beast is like, "Hey, buddy. Hey, Pickles. Sorry to bother you. We need you to teleport us."
He looks bothered, too, that he's being interrupted. He looks very bothered about it.
It's adorable. So anyway, now the X-Men are all together. Or the all-new X-Men are all together. And at the end of the book, in next issue, somebody's getting their face hit.
Definitely. I like that Mark Bagley's drawing that. It kind of gives it a feel for that. Like, whenever I see a Mark Bagley book, I'm just like, old school.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his since his run on Amazing Spider-Man, and Ultimate Spider-Man is my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I know him from. I didn't realize till very recently that he actually worked on Amazing, but yeah.
Yeah, and his adult Peter Parker looks very different than his teenage. Peter Parker.
I've since looked back and seen that. Yeah,
he draws good teens.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like a lot of people will draw. You have a female character, they're gonna do like the overly sexualized poses and things like that, and it's almost like Bagley's like, no, these are teenagers.
Yeah, like
we're not
X-23 and ID, they're both very like exactly like the rest of the team is. There's no butts or anything like that. Very tasteful.
I'm loving this book. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out because I loved the previous run of All New X-Men. My book, or my last book of the week, rather, also has quite a few teenagers. In this case, I have got All New, All Different Avengers. This picks up where the last book left off, where Iron Man and Cap basically got their butts kicked by a dude named Warbringer. Iron Man is, again, visibly melted into the floor. Cap's legs are, like, beat up. That's when Spider-Man comes by, webs up his legs, and he's kind of like, I don't know what to do for Iron Man. Luckily, Vision happens to swing by, and Vision, obviously, being a robot or android, is going to have a lot to say with Iron Man's armor. We then get to the point where Iron Man's finally free. He calls in his other armor, and they meet the guy who owns the tower, who's a jerk. He's not friendly in any way. The whole tower has been destroyed because of, not the whole tower, but a lot of the tower has been destroyed because of this fight with this dude, and the guy's kind of seeking compensation for that. We then catch up with Nova. He is racing towards, the battle, or the Chitauri. He's the only one who's had previous encounters with this guy before. Warbringer is not a fan of Nova, and Nova seems like he's keeping that to himself. Basically, Warbringer, he then meets up with Miss Marvel. Sorry, not Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel is, facing Warbringer, ready to beat the crap out of him, and mentions that she doesn't want the building around her destroyed. Just then, Nova comes in and crashes through a window. Nova and her obviously already had an encounter, and it was a really awkward encounter. So him crashing through a window after she just says, "Let's not have collateral damage," not a good thing for him.
No, but they're so awkward together. It is adorable.
Yeah, it's annoying because, like I said, it's like out of my real life. It's horrible. Basically, she calls him a jerk. He's angry. He's basically just like, I solved the problem. There's collateral damage, but I solved the problem. We then get to the point where they're both flying or leaving the scene to go after Warbringer, and Falcon comes by and scoops up Miss Marvel, and she's just like, Hamina, you're the Avengers. So yeah, she's obviously a huge Avengers fan, as we know from her solo series. So yeah, they meet up with the big bad again, Warbringer. Spider-Man, he saves these two guys from basically getting eaten. Like this dude like sucks energy, I guess, out of people. Yeah,
something about him. He needs to eat people. To stay alive.
So he saves those two guys, and we then get introduced to I think the final member of the team, the Mighty Thor, which is of course Jane Foster as Thor. She basically tries to use lightning. Iron Man's like, no, let's not use lightning, and she just throws Mjolnir at him. And the guy who owns Avengers Tower, seemingly quite powerful because he's able to just hold up his two fingers and stop Mjolnir right there.
So here's my thought. That's Loki.
My God, that's genius.
He brought the Avengers together originally the first time.
Oh my gosh.
This guy is, every time he uses his seemingly mystical power, it's green tinted.
And he's wearing green. I think we originally thought he was Dr. Doom because of the green tie.
Yeah, I am positive this guy's Loki.
Yeah, he definitely has that smarmy look to him, too. I don't know if smarmy's a word, but I've heard people use it. Basically, the last page is like this amazing splash page with all the Avengers looking at this horrible destruction emanating from this Warbringer dude. And and that's kind of how it ends. To be concluded, it says. And I cannot wait to see what happens.
One of the things I loved is how through the entire book, everybody keeps going, especially at Falcon or Captain Falcon. He's like, "No, we're not the Avengers.
Yeah,
we're not the Avengers anymore."
But thank you for thinking that.
It's just constant. We're not the Avengers. We're not the Avengers. So there's a bit where, oh God, this is terrible because I can't find it. But Miles Morales is like, all right, so you guys who aren't really the Avengers, assemble.
Yeah, that's a great line. And, we just spoke about teenagers being written well.
Yes.
Mark Waid does a great job of it as well. His Miles and his Kamala and his Sam are all greatly written.
Really well done.
And I'm just gonna talk about the Alex Ross cover because whenever there's an Alex Ross cover, we got to talk about it. It's a great beautiful cover, and I think it's really cool. Like, I hope he continues on through the whole series.
Yeah, so do I.
It gives it like a cool uniform look to it, and yeah, I really dig this book. Mark Waid is killing it on the Avengers.
Well, Wade's always good, like no matter what he's writing.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that he took on an Avengers book, because I was really worried that post Hickman, whoever took it over, it would be just like a letdown.
Yeah.
Like when Hickman left Fantastic Four, it was just like, this isn't nearly as good.
Not at all. I mean, and I think it's cool too because Hickman, obviously, his Avengers run was very like. I don't know if I would. Yeah, no, it was dark. It was very dark. It was
it went to dark places, but it was this huge epic story.
Definitely, and this seems smaller. It seems like it's bringing the Avengers back to kind of when we first met them, and I think that's the Loki thing is a great point. I think they're definitely trying to kind of harken back to the early days of the Avengers with this one. But, yeah, dude, those are our books this week.
So that rounds up our comics for this week. Let's talk about let's talk about movie trailers.
Yes.
There are so many out there, so many teasers, so many trailers.
Let's talk about the big one.
The big one.
The big one.
Captain America Civil War.
Every moment of it was amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't pick a favorite part, but
I can.
I think it might be, honestly, the look on sad Tony's face.
Oh, now I can't.
When he's like,
So was I.
So was I.
Yeah, it was.
Oh god.
Now, I've been talking to a lot of people who find that trailer heartbreaking, and I do too, because like that line is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it's kind of overshadowed by the sheer awesomeness of Winter Soldier and Captain America passing that shield back and forth, and just wrecking Iron Man, and I'm getting so excited, guys, because it's amazing.
All right, let me bring it back down.
Okay, we'll come down.
I'm gonna just say this. The trailer starts off with Steve asking his friend Bucky, "Do you remember me?" And Bucky's response is, "I remember your mom." Lol.
Yes, I did see that. It's fantastic. Like, obviously, we might be paraphrasing.
Yeah, just a little.
But hey, that's the gist of it. So yeah, Bucky totally burns Cap.
I want that to be the whole movie.
Yeah.
Where Bucky's just like, "I remember your mom."
Bucky, king of your mom jokes. I'm ready for it.
But Black Panther,
yes,
looks amazing.
He looks fantastic.
And like it's like 3 seconds of him kicking Winter Soldier's butt, and then him outrunning Captain America.
Yeah, the way he's running through those, like, and I'm actually moving my arms right now, guys. I'm actually moving my arms. Yeah, the way he's running through that tunnel, like that I can just already tell it's going to be great. One thing I really liked about the trailer too is that it seemed like a sequel to Winter Soldier, rather than it being like another Avengers movie.
Right.
Like the main story points were directly coming from Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people who are worried about every Avengers in it, which it's not quite true, but yeah, there's a lot of Avengers in it. You can still tell it's going to be Cap's movie. Like, it's definitely Captain America's movie.
And it almost felt like, to me, like I'm a big fan of the original Civil War, the comic book version.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, people could argue this, but they'd be wrong. Cap is the hero, Iron Man is the villain.
Right.
Iron Man is on the wrong side of history in the Civil War series.
Absolutely.
This trailer almost makes it look like Cap's on the wrong side, and Tony's on the right. I think
with the movie, I think they're probably gonna do a little bit better of a job of like making you not know which is the right side.
Right. Because Civil War, to me, it felt like it should have been a little more gray.
Yeah.
Than it was.
And I think they were trying to do that, but I think for the most part, most people did kind of see it as like a black and white scenario.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tony was just such a dick.
He
about
really,
everything.
really was. I mean, and like, you don't make a robot clone of Thor with good intentions.
Right.
You don't do that. Right. Especially when you call him Ragnarok. Like, you're literally, like, that means apocalypse. And as we know in the Marvel Universe, that is not good stuff.
Well, I guess this thought was, Thor's dead.
Yeah. So we should probably have a robot version, right?
Yeah. And it's not like he can come back and be mad at me.
Yeah.
Because, I'll just name it Ragnarok. It's no big deal.
Also, that Goliath guy, we don't really need him kicking around. Maybe we'll have Thor kill him.
Whoops.
Yeah, no, the trailer, every moment of it, I think we've both seen it probably 100 times at this point.
Yeah, a lot.
It's ridiculous.
It
The only thing that I think was missing is a glimpse of Ant-Man. Because I mean, not missing, but I'm sure they're holding it back.
Someone zoomed in on Cap's shoulder.
Oh, boy.
From one shot. Oh. And it's real blurry, but it looks like Ant-Man's on his shoulder.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually a thing that exists, but I saw a zoom in, and it looks like Ant-Man's on his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm loving also the way the teams have shaken out.
Yeah.
this now I don't have any confirmation that Ant-Man is on Cap's team. I'm assuming. Well, I guess I do. The Ant-Man after credit scene pretty much.
I really feel like Ant-Man and Falcon established a rapport.
Definitely,
a little bit,
definitely.
And Falcon's on Cap's team,
and I'm just going to mention that Hawkeye's also on Cap's team, and I'm going to mention an amazing cover of the Avengers with Hawkeye pulling back his arrow and Ant-Man right in the front of it. If we don't see that in this movie, I'm going to scream. Like, the credits are going to roll and it hasn't happened, I'm going to scream in the theater. So, Anthony and Joe Russo, make sure you do it.
Yeah, because we know you listen.
Yeah, of course you do.
Absolutely.
What else are you listening to? Not Serial.
So, the other big teaser that popped up in the last couple days is this little sequence from Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice.
I thought it was called Grumpy Superman Walks Slowly Through a Hallway.
Yes, angry Superman and tied up bats.
Yeah, with the sweet coat on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The teaser obviously out of context. I have no idea what it means.
Right. I've heard rumors, and it's sort of how Wonder Woman becomes part of this. Is that she or someone on Themyscira has some sort of a vision about this apocalyptic future where Superman becomes like dictator of the world.
Which, that seems like it's Batman's main fear, from just based on the trailers. So,
right.
Is it possible maybe it's a vision from Batman? I mean, that kind of sounds dumb because it's Batman. Maybe.
I mean, it could be a dream sequence.
A dream, yeah.
I don't know. It's
because it does seem like it seems like it's a nightmare for Batman.
Right. Yeah, and the comic book based on the Injustice video game really shows what would happen if Superman decides, no, I'm going to call the shots now. And you see how he and Batman just completely go at odds with each other.
Right.
And they both 100% believe that they are right. But, once you fall down the slope of, I know what's better than you, you create things like Robot Thors.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like,
when Boy Scouts and rich guys go at it, no one wins.
Yeah.
I'm just going to mention how every second that Batman was on screen, I was hoping for him to speak. Just any word whatsoever. Like, I don't know why. I just really wanted to hear Ben Affleck's Batman voice. I'm hoping it's not, "Oh, what's up, man? I'm Batman." I don't want any of that. I want it to be like typical, just spooky voice Batman.
Spooky voice?
Spooky voice, yeah.
I want it to be like high pitch. Hey guys, I'm Batman.
We can only hope that's how it shakes out. I'm excited for the next trailer. It seems like at the end of it, they mentioned that the trailer is being premiered on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
What's with him in premiering every trailer?
I don't know, man.
He's got it. I don't know.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is apparently the golden child as far as movie trailers being released, which is weird because really it should be Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would much. Stephen Colbert. I mean, I guess ABC. Well, no, because they don't own Warner Brothers. Like, them and Marvel, I know, are tight.
Is that where Jimmy Kimmel is? I don't know.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel's.
I have no idea.
Let me tell you why I know that. Civil War trailer premiered on Jimmy Kimmel. I had to go look through, wherever to find out when and where it was going to be on. And then I fell asleep anyway and just watched it the next morning. Sorry, Jimmy. I'm sure you were funny that night.
All right, so rounding out these teasers and these trailers, about 1 billion TV spots for Star Wars Force Awakens has popped up.
Exactly 1 billion, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Not less or more. Yeah,
you're right. Exactly 1 billion. And everyone gives us a tiny bit more information.
Yeah.
And I still have no idea what this is about. I do, however, have learned that BB-8 is his purpose is classified. I saw that in a teaser where Rey is talking to BB-8 and he makes a beeping noise and she's like, "What do you mean classified?"
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
now I'm gonna bring up a teaser that I saw where it had Finn, lightsaber ignited, and he's going up against a stormtrooper. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, stormtrooper versus lightsaber. I know how this is gonna shake out. But no, stormtrooper dude extends some crazy white stick with electricity running through it or something, and it's holding up against a lightsaber. Yeah. So I mean, obviously the Empire, or the First Order as they're called, they've learned some tricks. They figured out what to do. And the idea that a stormtrooper can now go against a Jedi and at least somewhat hold his own,
right.
It's a little scary. I mean, I know that they are not, obviously their shots aren't that great, but I mean, if they can go sword fight now, it's just a little more worrisome.
Yeah, it's like a weird electrified halberd.
Yeah, it's
real strange.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see it in action, and I want to know more about it. But yeah, I mean, it's a lightsaber going up against it, and it's not breaking.
I do have a feeling, though, that there will be one stormtrooper who will actually shoot things. Gwendolyn Christie's
Yes,
Captain Phasma.
Captain Phasma.
I have a feeling that she will hit everything she aims
I'm
for.
thinking she's going to be the Boba Fett of this movie. I think she's going to gain a lot of popularity. I think she got a really cool look, first of all.
Yeah.
And I think that she's going to blow people away. I mean, first of all, it's cool that it's a woman, in this sweet armor. Like, that's a really cool visual, and I feel like it's something that could easily be taken by, like, I don't know, men. Like, they're like, oh yeah. But like, this is something that women can cosplay as, and it's actually canon and stuff. So yeah. I have a Chrome. Okay, let me just mention this because I'm excited about it. I got my Smuggler's Bounty the other day. The theme was the First Order, and it came with a Chrome Captain Phasma pop.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is so cool. Yeah, like, it's super reflective. Like, I can see my face in its helmet. It's awesome.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, we will probably talk about Star Wars almost every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, beyond the movie releasing, I'm sure we'll talk about it even then.
However, next week,
yes,
we will not be discussing Star Wars or comics.
No.
Next week, we're going to do our long-awaited, at least by us, Jessica Jones special.
Definitely.
Where we will spend all of our time discussing the amazingness that is Jessica Jones.
Which I know we mentioned earlier that we might talk about Jessica Jones in this. In between that, we changed our minds and we're going to do a special. So
yeah, we figure we need to devote as much time as possible talking. And
yeah, it's 13 episodes. That's 13 hours of entertainment, and they're all glorious.
And I'm only 4 episodes into my second viewing of it, so I need to watch the rest.
Yeah,
again.
I'm only 2 episodes in my second viewing. So yeah, we'll have to get it down.
Yeah,
but yeah, you guys are going to love that though, because I mean, we can talk for hours about that.
Yeah. Alias was one of my is probably my favorite Bendis comic of all time, and I'm a huge Bendis fan, so I can't wait.
Yeah.
To just dive into this and talk about it.
Definitely
ad nauseum. So I think that's it for us this week. You can find me all over social media at Tommy Mad Prophet, or you can find Richmond Comix all over at Richmond Comix.
And I'm Travis, and you can follow me on Twitter at Spark hyphen spelled out man. It's always a chore to get through that. I'm sorry that I ever made it. Other than that, I'm also on Tumblr, or that's rad with 2ds.tumblr.com, and I'm on Facebook too. And I'll obviously check out Checkpoint Ahead podcast Facebook page. Yeah.
That's it for us this week. We'll see you on Wednesday.